Hey, welcome back. This is Mr. Elmhorst with the science lesson. We're working on thermal energy transfer last week. We did a lab. We did some stuff in class. Now we're going to put it into our notebook. So the ability to do work or change is called energy. So we got energy is going to be the ability to do any work or cause change to something. So more specifically, the energy that we're focusing on in this one is thermal energy, which involves heat. So the first one, what type of energy is the light bulb? That is just light energy. And then fire is going to be producing heat. Okay. Then we have chemical. So we got light energy, heat coming from fire, and this is a battery. So that's going to be chemical energy. And then we have a bike, which is going to represent kinetic energy. And these are power lines. So this is going to represent electrical energy. Excellent. So all of these can produce some type of heat. And so we're going to call this thermal energy. Thermal, let me fix that Y. Thermal energy. It's going to be the total amount of kinetic when the particles are moving around. It's the total amount of kinetic energy of the tiny particles that end up producing heat. And that's going to be producing heat. Now, thermal energy and kinetic energy can be absorbed or shared or transferred during three different forms. And when the particles are close together, these are going to be solids. And then when they're a little more spread apart, liquids. And then when they're spread even further apart with more kinetic energy, that's going to be gas. Okay. Now, when you have a solid and you're going from a solid to liquid, there's going to be melting. And then when it's going from a liquid to gas, it's going to be boiling. During these different processes, there is a transfer of thermal energy. Now, if you're going from liquids to solid, you're going to lose the thermal energy, less thermal energy, and then the particles are getting closer together, and you're losing the kinetic and you're losing the thermal energy. And then absolutely, when the particles start moving more and more, you are gaining kinetic and thermal energy. So the transfer between solids, liquids, and gases, gases back to liquids to solids. And then down below, we're just recapping some of the vocab words. When you have direct contact, what is that called? Conduction. So that is going to be the transfer of thermal energies when there's direct contact or you touch. That is thermal energy transfer when there's direct contact or you are touching one thing to the other to transfer the heat. All right. Now, the second one, when we're using air or fluids or liquids to transfer the heat, that is called convection. Convection is the heat transfer, and I'm going to introduce this word. It's the same thing. Just like in a river, you have currents. In the ocean, you have currents. You have movement of heat through liquids, fluids, or even through air. So we had a bunch of movement of currents Friday night when we had cold air moving in from the north, and we had strong winds and tornado warnings. So that was a good example of a storm where we had convection. And that is going to be caused by the rising and the falling of warmer and cooler matter, whether that's air, fluids, liquids, and those that matter is also called a medium in science, the material where something's transferred. So where are the currents? Down below, the currents are within the boiling water. As far as an example for a boiling water on the stovetop, it's the flow and movement of warmer and cooler water, or fluids, or air. And then the last one, when you don't have a medium, when you have open space, but you can still feel the heat. That's called radiation. Again, that's going to be the transfer of thermal energy through electromagnetic waves. All right, and then I'm just using this little picture down below as the example. So we have touch, which is going to be our conduction, direct contact, and then we have currents, rising, falling, warmer, cooler matter moving around, and then we have waves, or radiation. I'm going to tell students to open up their notebook and glue this into your notebooks, keep it organized, and then open up the virtual labs, and we're going to go through a few videos together.